Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we're playing another Total War Warhammer II Battle Replay. This one, again, is from Shadow's tournament. It is Kark versus Shidoku. So, Shidoku is playing as Norska here, and Kark is playing as the Empire, which is it's a hell of a matchup, isn't it? You know, it's a classic. It's a classic. They're constantly having skirmishes across the Empire. It's, you know, Norska are a constant nuisance. Bloody Vikings. So, this is a great thematic matchup. I don't know what they're doing in Ulthuan, though. I think they got lost. Oh wow, what's going on over there? That's a big sword. And a big helmet. Huh. Anyway, enough about that. So yes, this is a great, just tiny army, but everything here is so dangerous. I mean, when you look, Icehorn Marauders are sort of the most expensive thing in the front line, to be honest. So Icehorn Marauders there, got Skeleton? Sorry, Marauder Spearmen. I literally just did a Tomb Kings replay, so yep, I've got skeletons on the brain. So Marauder Spearmen, also got some Marauders on the outside, so very cheap stuff in the front line. But it's backed up by some very scary stuff. Wulfric on a Mammoth, he also has a War Mammoth, and he has the Mist Stalkers and some Fimir Warriors of Great Weapons, as well as the Fimir Balefiend. I mean, all this stuff is devastating. The DPS of all this, you know, all of these things charge into like a 1 or 2 units. Those units are dead in seconds. It's scary. It is scary, the amount of damage they can do. Also, there is some extra help here with the Marauder Horsemen that can help sort of skirt off things like cavalry and stuff that can pin these things in place. So he's thought this out because this is a fairly typical counter to Norska. Here he's got some great swords to help deal with things like sort of Marauder champions, or just hack through Marauders all day. So some good, you know, anti-infantry and armor piercing in the front line. He's got a ton of Pistoliers, because the Pistoliers actually do pretty well. If you look at Mammoths, I mean, obviously it's a War Mammoth, which is a bit more tanky, but 70 armor, you know, for these guys, it's not huge, and they're a massive target, so even Pistoliers can get a lot of damage into the big things like the Mammoths. Not quite so much things like the Mist Stalkers or, you know, the other Fimir, but Mammoths are a very good target for that. Or you can just chase around other cavalry that's very lightly armoured, so it really helps, you know, control the pace of the battlefield there. Also here, though, I forgot to mention, there are the Beasts of Tashnar as well, so really good for helping chase down things like the Pistoliers, or Outriders are also quite common. You know, the armour piercing of Outriders, very useful for dealing with things like the Fimir. But there are a couple of cannons, so these 2 cannons will be working overtime because they have so many targets that they are really needed for killing, so that's very scary. He does have some Knights of the Blazing Sun in the back, and another unit here, so the Knights of the Blazing Sun, really nice. That fire damage can help against a lot of different units, and yeah, they're just very reliable. Really good charge bonuses, they're really nice and quick, so they can get in and out. Some more Knights of the Blazing Sun there, there's 3 units. Also, some Spearmen, and the Knights of the Blazing Sun with their fire damage, it will actually be inflated every time the Bright Wizard casts a spell, so the Bright Wizard can be very handy for using fireballs, and Balthazar Gelt is here. And the reason Balthazar Gelt is here is just for Plague of Rust and as a battery. So, what is nice, there is a cool 1-2 punch, Plague of Rust and a Fireball. The Fireball will do a lot more damage, and Plague of Rust is quite cheap. Or, if you're just relying on Pistoliers, using Plague of Rust on something, it means that the Pistoliers are going to do almost as much damage as Outriders would have done for far cheaper, so it's really nice to see. So, speeding things up. Immediately you can see, yeah, the Marauder Horsemen aren't doing quite so well. The cannons are trying to whittle these guys away quicker, because if you can get rid of them, you've got rid of a lot of the maneuverability. You can start kiting these units. You can start, you know, putting the work in with less risk. That Fireball just missed. How do you miss a Mammoth? I mean, he's gigantic, so unfortunately the 1-2 punch there didn't work. Plague of Rust, you know, huge minus 60 armor, but the Fireball didn't register, and that is really sad. That is a real problem. That's a real pity. So, not ideal, but more cannon fire coming in, and that is doing some good work to Wulfric. And the thing is, no healing here. Oh, looks like another Fireball coming in, though. You can cast those so quickly. It's so easy to spam those, and especially if you're not overcasting it, you can get some good work. Sadly, though, Plague of Rust has worn out. So, here's a Fireball, and oh, okay, he was aiming for the Balefiend. Okay, so it didn't miss. He was aiming for the Balefiend. Fair enough. Fair enough. Good to get rid of the Spellcaster. You know, Law of Shadows, very, very powerful. Melkoths, and, yeah, there we go. Melkoths and Enfeebling Foe, those Knights of the Blazing Sun can't run away, and they can't really defend themselves anymore. So the Pistoliers having to run in to try and back them up, get rid of all these sort of light units, but there are some Spearmen in here too, which are a bit of a problem. They're going to do well against things like Pistoliers in combat, because they don't have the armor piercing. You don't need it against Pistoliers. Now the Mammoths are getting the front line, and Greatswords cannot withstand that kind of thing. And Greatswords cannot withstand Mist Stalkers, they cannot withstand Fimir Warriors. There is so much stuff here that will just demolish these Greatswords. There's not really a good target for the Greatswords. I mean, sure, they and kill the Marauders, but who really cares about that? You know, there's a lot more pressing concerns. So over here, you can see Pistoliers were traded for Marauder Horsemen, but these Knights of the Blazing Sun took a tremendous amount of damage, so that was very successful use of spells for shutting down a lot of very valuable units over there. So that's not ideal. Other Knights of the Blazing Sun got terrified away, trying to come in and pin things down. Plague of Rust has been used on Wulfric again, but there's not much to capitalise here. Luckily, the Great Cannons are both still online, and Wulfric is taking a lot of punishment as a result. But Wulfric's been getting the attention of all the cannons, but it means the Fimir are both fine. The Fimir Balefiend still has plenty of health, and the other War Mammoth has barely been touched. So that is absolutely crippling. Over here, though, these Great Swords were abandoned. You know, it's happy just to hold them in place. They're not really a threat to anything vital, not anything that's going to win the match. So over here, Beast of Tashnar charging in, and everything charging in everywhere. Again, it's just a massive fustercluck over here. So not sure who really is you know, coming out on top here, who intends to come out on top, but it certainly looks good for the Empire. Just the sheer weight of numbers, you know, there's still with the Knights of the Blazing Sun with their good charge, it can certainly help against all these lightly armoured things, and the Pistoliers, I mean, as long as that stuff breaks quickly to the Knights of the Blazing Sun, they're just going to keep them from running away, so that's really nice. Over here, though, Knights of the Blazing Sun now getting caught out by these Marauder Spearmen. It did look like they charged them just to keep them pinned long enough to get the Great Swords in there, so very nice play there. But again, Fimir Warriors still totally fine. They're on top of the cannon crew now, and that's a real problem. And over here, you can see the Mammoth and the Miststalkers both totally healthy. And again, huge problem. Huge problem. A lot of Pistoliers are dead now. Malcolm's Misfire Miasma helping to lower their health down. It's just whittling these units down and slowing them down. But Wulfric's still taking a lot of damage, but he's on a Mammoth. He has so much health. I mean, 3,500 health still? It's kind of crazy. And now, yep, he's terrified that unit. He's terrified that unit. So that cannon basically taken offline. This one is still going, but that cannon's basically got to kill, what, 4 units? It's not good for him. Not good for him at all. So over here you can see, yep, these guys got gooned, those Marauder Spearmen. You know, close to the cannon, you can see everything on this side has been cleared out rather nicely, and a lot of these other units are being chased down and routed, so the Empire are working hard. Kark is working very hard to get the little victories he can, hoping that he'll have enough stuff left to take on the big things at the end, but it's tough, it's tough. That Mammoth's still barely been touched. Miststalker's still barely a scratch on them. Another Malcolm on the Knights of the Blazing Sun, and they're almost gone. They're going to get terrified as soon as they get anywhere near any of these Mammoths with that little health. It's just not going to work out. But Pistolier is getting some wonderful damage into Wulfric. He is a very big target, so you're going to hit him with almost every shot. So that's pretty nice. I say that, you can see there are a few missing, but still, they're shooting a lot of shots. And now, Spearmen, they're going to get run over next, and the cannon is having to shoot through trees. The odd shot will get blocked, but hopefully they can get enough through. And here, another fireball misses Wulfric. I mean, how? How is this happening? That's like the 4th fireball that's been missed, I think, this game. It's ridiculous. So here, Wulfric is charging in, and again, Miststalker's still totally fine. Totally fine. And Fimir, great weapons in there too. That Mammoth, barely a scratch. I mean, he's just trying to go for Wulfric, but Wulfric's just taking too long to kill. He has such a huge health pool, it's very difficult to break him. It's very difficult to finally get rid of him, you know? And that's been a problem. That's been a problem. All the attention's been on Wulfric, who's just refused to go down. So everything else is still pretty healthy. I mean, sure, there is a Bright Wizard and Geld, they're both pretty healthy, but, you know, they're not really dedicated killers of things like Fimir. You know, it's not really ideal, is it? So they're trying to move around, try and chase off Wulfric, as you do, but the cannon's on its own now. Nothing can plug this gap, nothing at all. So it's a shame, because that cannon's still got half his health, you know, half his ammo left. So he could actually get quite a bit more damage into these Mammoths and things, but nope, too late for them. Too late for them. Here some Marauder Horsemen are coming back in. Wulfric is being chased off. No, he's not yet. Nope, he's not. No, they gave up on that. So, Great Swords are returning. But again, Great Swords are no match for any of these units. No, what he really needs is cannons, and they're both gone. They're both gone. So, yeah, I think the Empire is out of answers, to be honest. I think they're out of answers. You can see Wulfric is now getting chased off by the Bright Wizard. But, I mean, Gelt can't fight any of this stuff. Something like a Final Transmutation would have been great, just as insurance. I know it's like 200 to bring, but you never know if the Norscan army is just going to go all in with the big monsters and risk a ton of guns, you know, shooting them all down, or if it's going to be something like this. You know, it's it's tough. It's tough. You want that insurance. If you're going to go for sort of something that'll deal with a much bigger, wider Norscan army, you still want the insurance in case they do go stompy. And I think Final Transmutation could have actually been the thing that could have broken this, because they have been running as a pack. You know, a Final Transmutation on a big blob like this, I think it would have been very good, because Gelt can just get so much magic, you know, with the Arcane Conduit, you know, the stuff of the lands. He can do great. He can do great work with that, and he just needs something to crack these guys. And sadly, it didn't go to plan. Over here, Wulfric's actually dead. Brightwood's actually killed him. How about that? So, now Greatswords are charging in, doing what they can. It looks like Gelt, yeah, he's charging in. He's getting his hands dirty. Here, Pistoliers are running in, but Kark knows it's over at this point, so he's just throwing everything in. But he was able to get that last little, you know, small victory, getting rid of Wulfric there. He won't trouble the Empire again, or apparently Ulth won. Anyway, so yeah, just critical mass here. You know, War Mammoth, 2 Mist, well, not 2 Mist, or 2 Famir here. It's just too much. You can't stop this. You can't stop this with this kind of build. It's too tough, you know. Great anti-large as well with the Famir ones are great weapons. It's not like cavalry can pen them in for you to be able to take advantage of that. The cavalry won't last long because they are so good at dealing with heavy cavalry. Apart from things like, you know, demigriffs with halberds or something. You know, they get caught by something like demigriffs, fine, but Knights of the Blazing Sun that are more for sort of harassing infantry and cycle charging, it's just not going to work. And so, yep, that is a win for Shidoku. Great play there. I mean, this is sort of against the meta, you know, when you're going against the Empire, because you expect a ton of handguns and outriders and things. You really expect that a lot of the time, but since that's the expectation, the Empire probably aren't going to bother doing that, because they think, oh, well, Norse's going to go wide to avoid that, but Shidoku is one step ahead. So, beautiful counterplay here, you know, great sort of counter-picking and mind games going on, because I'm sure, you know, if you guys watch a lot of this sort of content, you can tell that this matchup, you often don't see these kinds of armies from either. So, beautiful game of poker going on here, which I think is a lot of fun. And just great to see big stompy mammoths. So, I can't complain. This is wonderful. Really well played by Kark. I think, you know, he lost, but I think that was mainly down to the build. But I think what he did was great. I think he was able to get some really good damage into the things that he could get. You know, he was catching out a lot of units, doing his best to win those little victories, and that's all he could really ask for in this matchup. You know, with these units, he just had nothing to break, you know, the horrible goon squad here. It was brutal, absolutely brutal. But yeah, beautiful game. So guys, if you enjoyed this, well, first off, go check out Shadow Online Gaming, because he's the one putting on this tournament, and he's casting every single battle, which is something you never see from a tournament that's being cast. You know, it's you never see the whole thing, except, I don't know, if it's something like a small thing like the Everchosen, I guess. Small in terms of players, but no, this one has like 40 players. There's 100 games, over 100 games, I think, in the group stages, and he's casting the whole lot. So that's just the group stages. Then he's doing all of the knockouts as well. So it's kind of crazy. So be sure to go check out Shadow Online Gaming for the most comprehensive coverage of a large-scale tournament you'll probably ever see on YouTube. So absolutely wonderful. So go check him out, and also comment, like, and subscribe to this video and this channel, because I'm here too. Hey. So yeah, guys, it's been a pleasure. So yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.